Yeah, it's a very interesting point because a couple of days ago, I just had a lunch with a very famous YouTuber, and we talk about, his content. Like, should we dictate to what audience wants, certain video do well, maybe, replicate the formula. And he said, like, no, as a content creator, we are kind of like a thought leader. We're the voice of the communities and society. Like, you shouldn't be skewed to what audience want. Like, whatever that comes to you, you feel that's powerful enough, that you should share.
Welcome to Yana TV. Today, our guest is Jenny Lee, who is a chiropractor, a businesswoman, and a YouTuber. Being a YouTuber, how has the journey have been for you?
It's a lot of ups and downs. As many of our content creators have gone through, is always this. I start putting on video, and I see if it takes off, but it didn't. So I'm going to put on pause. A few years pass by. Oh, I remember I have a channel. Maybe I should put few more video on. And put few more. Also didn't get much view. Then I just forget about it. So there's a multiple jump start in my channel, since 2009. And until I would say last year, June, my husband just sit down with me like, hey, why don't you just give it a go in 1 year? You just continue to post once a week, and 0 view, 1,000 view, doesn't matter. You just try. Or let's try this for 12 months. And if you still nobody watch you, I'm sorry, honey. You don't have what it takes to be a YouTuber. You should just, close that door. But hey, if you turn out to something, at least rather than you keep jumping, start not be consistent. So I did that since last year in June. And for the first good, I would say 3 months, it was 0 growth. Like if I can get 100 views on my video, I'll be like, very, very happy. So I start just continue pulling and trying to niche down and finding my audience and also finding my own voice. My channel started just mainly in English because I follow the trend of lifestyle. I'm also a mom, also a business owner. What is a business owner / motherhood like living in Singapore? But it didn't get any traction. Then at that point, I was like, well, nobody gonna watch me anyway, so I'm just gonna do whatever I feel like doing. So I did a lot of reflection kind of during that time. And as you can see, I'm a Chinese, and my daughter is a half Chinese.
And the other half?
Is American. My husband is American. But at that time, my daughter has no interest in learning Chinese. So I feel like, well, if I want her to have interest in Chinese, I better be the model for it. So I decided to speak Chinese for my channel. And in the beginning, I'm just really putting out my thoughts. Like, I moved to Singapore about 10 plus years, what I think about it. So I just very honest, sharing my personal opinion, my personal experience. And it seems I didn't like that. So I started sharing more.
So there's much more viewers and engagement immediately.
Yeah, exactly. So sharing culture differences. I also lived in Hong Kong before. Before that, a little bit of South America, then US. So we just compare the culture, like what's the difference. Also for people who kind of just move into Singapore, like what to expect, what's the culture difference. So it seems like that is catching some views, but as you know, Singapore is pretty small. After you're talking about it for like 4 months, I really run out of things. It's like, okay, what's next? I need the next breakthrough. So then I look people around me. I do have a lot of friends who are Chinese speaking foreigners who start their business or in Singapore. So initially I would just, have 10 questions listed out and invite them to be on my TV show, on my video, to ask them, what it's like to run a business as a Chinese-speaking foreigner in Singapore. What's the struggle? What's the culture difference? All that questions.
It's interesting how you found your niche and your voice instinctively. Would it be correct to say?
Yeah.
Because sometimes what I hear quite often, the funny part is usually guys do that. And it is very mechanical. There are a lot of apps that you use when you analyze the viewership, you analyze the video duration, and where it really sparks, and what kind of sentences and words really spark attention. And I try to create more content like this. And listening to you, I'm just realizing for you, it is very organic.
I don't know. It is how to be authentic.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I feel like.
Yeah. And probably it's also like a tip for those who are wondering how to go about your content creation. Just do what you want. I know you should enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, then that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point because a couple of days ago, I just had a lunch with a very famous YouTuber, and we talk about, its content. So should we dictate to what audience wants, certain video do well, maybe, replicate the formula. And he said like, no, as a content creator, we are kind of like a thought leader. We're the voice of the communities and society. Like you shouldn't be skewed to what audience want. Like whatever that comes to you, you feel that's powerful enough, then you should share.
I love that. Yeah. So as a content creator, you have to honor what is true.
Yeah.
And not always go only with popularity, right?
Yeah.
So, wow. So your channel is focusing on bringing interviews with Chinese speaking foreigners living in Singapore, right? So and it's in Chinese.
Yes,
the channel is. Where do you see it heading? I mean, is it like becoming the full thing right now, or is it still half of the things that you do in life?
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question because I think the biggest gain out of this whole journey is really me. Because every time I sit down with a guest, although it's most of the time for the first my 20 guests, they're really just my friends. So even just friends, we sit down when they ask a question, and sometimes I don't 100% follow the question. I just want to see where the conversation goes, like where they feel shy. And even just friends, I still find new things about them. And because I interview entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur business owner, there are lots of ups and downs, a lot of challenges, a lot of setback, and how you deal with that. So every time I sit down with them after listening to this story, I just gain a brand new perspective in life, in running the business. So yeah, I would say the biggest person who came from this is probably me. It's like every story, it has a meaning behind it. And I learn from that meaning.
I love that. This is also what I love about YanaTV here. And sometimes I see people in real life, like with you for the first time. And then we sit down and those 20, 25 minutes for the recording, I actually feel that because the conversation is so deep, I get to know a person really well.
Yeah, exactly. And I learned so much. I mean, I am a businesswoman in a very male-dominant industry. Most of businesses are men. Sometimes it is very hard to navigate through. But, listen to all these stories of entrepreneurs, how they deal with setback and challenges, which is kind of helping me to realize you think your problem is a problem, but actually you listen to what I have gone through, your problems. It's like nothing to compare with.
Speaking about business, it's in a chiropractic,
yes,
right?
I'm a chiropractor.
And the channel is not related to your business.
I have another channel, it's run by the company, so that's chiropractic related. For Dr. Jenny Lee, Singapore is really just for me. Like I'm trying to fulfill the dream of being like a 1% Oprah. So I love her. Maybe just fulfill my dream to be like 0.1% Oprah, I guess.
0.1% Oprah. You are Jenny, and you are, you, and you are in Asia here in Singapore, and this is your thing.
Yeah,
I love that. You have your business, and then kind of you have your YouTube channel, which feels to be more like fulfillment for the soul.
Yes.
Right. So, and also it's for you to get to know people, to educate, but also I'm just curious, does it drive traffic to your business?
It does. In the beginning, it was really nothing. And I wasn't really expecting anything anyway. But over the time, I think their patient come in and say, oh, I saw your video and I know you're a chiropractor, so I'm looking one anyway.
Okay. So I guess my point here is, again, when we talk about content creation, especially for people who have businesses, or maybe thinking about content creation for businesses, you don't even need to have a YouTube channel linked directly to your business to get clients. You just need to have a YouTube channel, again, with the topic you are passionate about.
Exactly.
So you're going to create content consistently in a passionate way, and that's going to drive the traffic.
Exactly. I think you said it 100% right. It really is. There was a many years ago, I met this business owner in Peru. He is American. He doesn't speak much of Spanish, but somehow he got invited to the TV station to talk about his product and services. And he went on with his broken Spanish, and he just, did 10 minutes of presentation on what his business is about. And the next few years, he really got a lot of business from that. And he said the people come in, the common feedback they said to him is, we don't know what you're talking about, but you're very passionate about it.
But you're passionate
so
about
we are curious, so we want to come see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the energy travel. An interesting question about particularly being a woman and being a content creator. So to me, it was very interesting when I sort of asked my friends and my team to look around and say, let's find a YouTuber who we would like to invite on the show. The first 5 names I got were all guys. So I looked at the list and I asked, so you didn't find any women? Like, what happened? Why there are only men on this list? So why do you think is that?
I think there's a lot of culture. I would say culture or racial limiting belief. Because as an Asian woman growing up, you have to strive for the best. You're never enough. You're never good enough. You needed to kind of keep your voice to yourself. Nobody likes someone who talk a lot. Nobody likes someone who raise their voice. You need to just be submissive and, zip. We have a term for it. Is we see sometimes the Asian woman is kind of labeled as Hello Kitties.
Hello Kitties.
Yes. No claws, no mouth, but shut up and be cute. Yeah. So I think there is a lot of limiting belief about women's bring their voice to the community or in the industry. But I think over the year, it has gone a lot better. I mean, I have been influenced to willing to speak out more, finding my voice and finding other female content creators out there doing the same thing.
So you think that we don't have enough female content creators largely because women don't feel comfortable enough to go on camera and talk?
Yeah, could be that, or could be a lot of internal judgment before we even press the record button. What if my mother-in-law saw this? Like, what if my friend? Actually, don't worry, nobody's gonna see it for the first 3 to 6 months. Just do whatever you feel like it. I actually had a friend who she's in her 50s and she just started her YouTube channels. It's not really like trying to make a side business, side hustle to make money. No. She just wanted to kind of document her life. So when she get older, she can always look back this timeline when she in her 40s and 30s of what was clear through her mind. But she never did it. She never did it because she was just so worried about what if my colleagues saw this? What if my boss sees this? Like, just so much like internal judgment before.
And maybe a tricky question. So again, the fact that there are more male creators than female creators in the content creation space, particularly on the YouTube, like what we see in Asia. So could it also be that the audience wants to watch more men created by videos by men? No. Okay, so this is so it's not like in sport games, right? When people want to see guys more than girls playing sports. Because statistically it is true.
There are a lot of male audience, I would say, like a lot of audience. But I mean, if I were a guy, I don't want to see guy all the time, right?
Right. You want to look at the cute girl who can also talk, right?
Exactly.
So then, since we are in this conversation about content creation, so it's whatever obstacles people, especially women, might be, feeling here, it's all internal. So the audience is there. People would love to see you. Men would love to see you. Women would love to see you. So, right, it's up to you. You just have to overcome those inner limitations, limiting beliefs, and just go out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody has
Please do that. More women, please go online and create content.
Yeah. I believe, this is what I said in my channel as well, is I believe everyone has a fascinating story. Even the person who is sweeping on the road, he or she has a fascinating story. You just have to share it, speak it, and share it.
I believe in that very much, and it's also like when we select guests for the show here, I try my best to have variety and inclusion and like really show, to me, what Singapore is about is diversity of people. Yeah. So to show a great diversity of people.
Yeah.
But then also when someone like sits in this chair and I look at the person, to me, I'm fascinated with your story. I'm like, so what is your story?
Yeah.
Because every person has it. And it's so amazing to hear. So we have been talking about YouTube and a bit of your business and, tips for the content creation. Now your personal story.
All right.
So you're not from Singapore, right?
No.
You were born in?
I was born in China.
In which part of China?
In northern part of China. It's about 5 hours outside of Beijing. It's a little town called Taiyuan. Then I moved to the States when I was 15 years old. Did all my study there, high school, college, chiropractic school. So by the time I finished chiropractic school, I was really just wanted to travel the world. So that's why we, at that time, me and was my boyfriend at that time, but now husband, we went to South America and just really loved the idea of working abroad to experience in different cultures. Then after that, we thought about let's try Asia. So then we went to Hong Kong for about a year. So it's a very tough city for me. At least the pace is very fast, and I have to learn different language. And learning a different language is always not something I am really good at it. So then by the end of the first year, I was just sitting down with Jeff, my husband, like maybe it's time for us to go back. And we tried South America, we tried Asia. It was okay, not exactly what we anticipated, but maybe we should go back. Then we have some friends who are working in Singapore and start to reaching out to us like, since you're in Asia, I see you traveling a lot. Why don't you give Singapore a try? It's a 2-year contract. If you don't like it, you can always go back. So that's like, 12 years ago.
12 years ago when you came to Singapore.
Yeah.
And what was your first impression?
Oh, yeah. My first impression is everyone is so laid back. Which everyone was like, are you kidding me? Like, we are very
stressed.
It's like, well, if we're living 1 year in Hong Kong, this is laid back to me. In Hong Kong I was easily doing like 50 hours a week. When I moved here, it was like sometimes 36, 32 hours. And that's it. There was a good life balance back then. And the apartment, the house here is much bigger.
Yeah.
Like in Hong Kong, I was living in a shoebox apartment and there has nothing, no space for anything really. But moving to Singapore, it's like, wow, space, pool. This is like
luxury life.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you like about, like now after 12 years, right, being here, what do you like about the development of Singapore? What has happened in the last 12 years?
It's quite amazing. With my experience traveling this different part of the world, I would say it's very fast how Singapore is going with infrastructures and just technology. It's quite amazing. And being in America for more than 10 plus years of life, we always have the American dream, which is you come, you work hard, they can achieve whatever you want. And I think that Singapore has really achieved its Singapore dream, I would say, from poverty to first world country within one generation. How many countries out there have done it? I don't think there's many.
Wow. You said your mom.
Yeah.
How old is your child?
My daughter is 6. Yeah, so she's 6 years old.
So she's half Chinese, half American.
Yeah.
And she identifies as...
I never really asked her. She never really say I am Chinese or I am like American. But it was very interesting. So once the COVID is kind of over, we're able to travel and we've been to a lot of places. And apparently, like her favorite place is Thailand. I don't know why, because they have a lot of like kids water parks. She said that's her favorite place. And then it's, so would you want to call Thailand your whole life? Yes, I want to go to Thailand. So I would say children of the world, like global citizens.
Yes, global citizen. Yeah, also with the mixed family, parents, right?
Yeah.
But this is the part of and to me, it's also beauty in Singapore, just diversity again for kids.
Exactly.
They grow up like colorblind,
Yeah.
right? In that
Yeah.
sense. So like entirely,
Exactly.
they don't even, it doesn't even register.
Exactly.
That who is from where doesn't matter. And they, you know, they just very welcoming of people of different backgrounds. So I find it's very important for children to grow up this way.
Exactly. I mean, she grew up in a community who are Indians, who are Muslim lady with hijab. When she in the U.S., because they are Muslim, they're Indians everywhere. She never questions like why that lady wears a scarf. Compared to my friends' kids, they will question like why she wears a scarf for things. But for her, it's like it's everyday thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my teacher.
Yeah, it is part of the culture. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is in her culture. She does that.
Yeah.
So no questions asked.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. Love that. Maybe just going further a little bit with your life and sort of your future. Let's say 10, 15 years from now, where would you like to be?
Everywhere.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Maybe travel a bit more. I really like that. We still continue to travel, but we never really kind of live in a place for a long period of time. We would like to be so-called local of that country. So in the future, I hope we can do that a bit more. Maybe pick a country just to live there for 2 to 3 months or even half a year. No longer tourist, but local of that country. Yeah. So more travel, more experience, culture, I would say. Kids hopefully go to college, so she doesn't, need us that much.
Yes, then you kind of have your whole life and pursue your own dreams.
Yeah.
Do you think you're still going to do YouTubing?
Oh, definitely.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with your channel in 10, 15 years from now. I don't know. Wow.
Maybe just like a hologram. You press a button.
Exactly. We're going to have the holograms. They're going to be all these, we're going to have a VR set.
Yeah.
Wow, Jenny, thank you so much. That was wonderful. It was an absolutely wonderful interview. And I mean, I also, for me, learned a lot, as you said, when you were describing your YouTube journey. So it's always powerful to talk to other content creators.
Yes.
And I mean, I do encourage, especially women, to get out there, but not only women. I mean, of course, we also want to have more guys, but still, female content creators, please stand up and use your voice. So Jenny is just one of the wonderful examples.
Thank you.
And we would love also to hear with you any comments. Actually, if you are a female content creator and you have your YouTube channel, please let me know in the comments. We would love to check you out. And who knows, maybe we're going to invite you as a guest on Yana TV.
Sure.
And please remember, subscribe to the channel, share this episode with a friend. Thank you, Muse Studio, for hosting Yana TV. And I'm going to be seeing you next time. I love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
You know what? When I was a little doll, I had a doll with this hair, and we called her Malvina.
Okay.
Like, I'm not sure if there's a word in English, for that, but where I was born, and it was one of my favorite, toys I wanted to play.
Thank you.
To me, I love this hairstyle.